All right, we're going to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission for date May 13th, 2025. If everybody, first thing we're going to do is we are going to take a brief recess for the time capsule, and then we'll be back at, I would say, 7 o'clock to restart the meeting. So, okay. Let's go. Easy. All right, we'll call the meeting back to order. If everybody will stand for the invocation and pledge. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Lord God. We ask that you bless the citizens of Ocoee, Lord. Bless our first responders. Bless our city staff, Lord. Thank you for having our city be here for 100 years and hopefully to be here for many, many, many more 100 years to come, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Chair Lomnack.
Here.
Vice Chair Forges.
Here.
Member Keller.
Here.
Member Chacon is absent. Member Galvin.
Here.
Member Butler.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Can I get an approval of the minutes of the planning and zoning meeting from April 8th, 2025?
So moved.
All right, can I get a second?
A second.
We have a motion for approval by Member Keller and a second by alternate Member Butler, who's not alternate tonight. Let's go ahead and vote. All right. Okay, we have no old business, new business. We have a big one here, 508, 518, and 524 Woodson Avenue. This is for Legacy Homes Florida LLC annexation and rezoning from Orange County R1 Single Family Dwelling District to City of Ocoee R1A Single Family Dwelling District. This is projects AX042502, AX042503, AX042504, RZ250403, RZ250403, and the RZ250403, is that twice?
No, 04. Oh, yeah, the 03 is there twice.
Okay. Do we know what the correct?
The first one should be RZ 250402.
02, thank you. All right, so for the record, that was RZ250402 and RZ250403, and then RZ250404. So we'll need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 motions. But planner Belizaria?
Belizaire.
All right, close.
Good.
You're up.
Okay. Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Tonight I'll be presenting on the annexation and rezoning for the Legacy Homes FL LLC properties located at 508, 518, and 524 Woodson Avenue. Okay, so for issues, it's whether or not the Planning and Zoning Commission should recommend approval of the annexations of the properties from the county into the city, as well as rezoning the properties from County R1 to City of Ocoee R1A. Okay, so some background on the properties. They're all located along the west side of Woodson Avenue and south of Center Street. For 508 and 518 Woodson Avenue, each lot is 0.38 acres. For 524 Woodson Avenue, that lot is 0.35 acres. All the properties are eligible for annexation as they are all adjacent to the city properties, eligible for water service, specifically potable water service, and reduce the amount of enclaves within the city. It is also consistent with the Joint Planning Area Future Land Use Map, which is for low-density residential. Okay, so here we have the area of the property, like I said, west of Woodson and south of Center Street. This is the surrounding zoning map. As you can see, the yellow areas are the city properties with R1A and R1 zoning designations, The future land use map showing, again, that consistency of low-density residential. And so for these items. The Development Review Committee met May 6th to consider the annexation and rezoning and are making a recommendation of approval. And staff also recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission make a recommendation of approval for the annexation and rezoning of the properties from the county into the city and rezoning from R1 to R1A. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff?
One question, if I may?
Yep.
Mr. Chair. Do we have to do this in a particular order? Because when I look at the jurisdiction surrounding the north, south, east, and west, on 508 and 518, it shows that everything is surrounded by Orange County on all four sides. It's only 524 that shows an adjacency to the city of Ocoee. So do we have to bring 24 in first, then 18, and then 8?
That was going to be my, that was going to be my recommendation tonight. You kind of work our way southward as we go.
Okay, thank you. That was all, Mr. Chair.
Great. Anybody else?
And I don't know if the planner knows which of these lots
I'm going to ask that.
go progressively to the south. I think we want to make sure we do this right.
I'm going to ask that as well. Is there the applicant here?
The applicant is not here now.
All right, great. Anybody we'll open up to the public. We'll close the public, bring it back up to the dais. So yes, which RZs and AXs are for 524, please? Actually,
Maybe we can do it on Google.
do we,
They're in order
can we
of
just
508 to 524.
do it by address, or will we have to also, since I've already recited the projects, can we just do it by address?
Chair, Mr. Chair, Planner Belizaire has advised that they are in project order by numerical order, so
Okay.
you would start with 04, then 03, then 02.
Okay.
Thank you.
You think we'll be okay with that, just announcing the addresses since we already announced the projects?
Yes.
Okay. So then if you brought it back up to the dais here, just for the board, if you'd like to make a motion, you can start with 524 and just use the address for the RZ and then the AZ. So you don't have to recite the project number. So I'll take a motion if there's no other questions.
So just for clarity here, so we're going to start with 524, then go to 518, and then go to 50.
Correct.
Okay, so we're not making a motion for all three at the same time? Because
No.
524 has to be
Correct.
approved tonight first?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Yep, we're going to do the 524, we'll do the RZ. So somebody,
Do we do the RZ or do we have to do the annexation?
We have to do
we can do the annexation
first.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve or recommend approval of the annexation of 524 Woodson Avenue into the city of Ocoee.
Great, thank you. Do I have a second? I second it. All right, we have a motion for approval, a motion for recommendation of approval for 524 Woodson Avenue by Member Keller and a second by Member Galvin. All those in favor, let's vote. All right, now we need for 524, now we'll need the rezoning. I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion for the rezoning of 524 Woodson Avenue from Orange County R1 to City of Ocoee R1A, Single Family Dwelling District.
Great, do I have a second? I'll second it. All right, we have a motion for recommendation of approval of 524 Woodson Avenue for annexation by Member Keller and a second by Member Galvin. Let's go vote, please. Great, that passes. Next will be 518. Take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a recommendation for approval to annex 518 Woodson Avenue.
Okay, I think you have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, we have a motion for approval, a motion for recommendation of approval for 518 Woodson Avenue for annexation by Vice Chair Forges, and I believe that was a second by Member Butler. All those in favor, let's vote. All right, that passes. Thank you. I'll take a motion for the rezoning of 518.
And Mr. Chair, I'll make a recommendation for approval to rezone 518 Woodson Avenue from R1
Thank you. Do I have a second?
to R1A.
All right, we have a recommendation for approval for 518 Woodson Avenue for rezoning, and I cut him off, I cut Member Forges off, but he was saying from Orange County R1 to City of Ocoee R1. So I have a recommendation for approval by Member Forge, by Vice Chair Forges, and a second by Member Galvin. Let's vote. All right, 508. Take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion for a recommendation for approval for the annexation of 508 Woodson from Orange County R1 to City of Ocoee R1A.
We're not doing the zoning yet. First, we're doing annexation.
I did
Oh,
annexation.
I'm sorry.
You're good. All right, we have a recommendation for approval for 508 Woodson Avenue for annexation. Do I have a second? A second. All right, we have a recommendation for approval by Member Butler of 508 Woodson Avenue and a second by Member Galvin. Let's vote. All right, that passes. All right, last but not least, here, hold this thing. I want to do one. I'd like to recommend a motion for approval of 508 Woodson Avenue for the annexation.
You want to do it for rezoning? We did the annexation.
Right, that's exactly what I want to do. See, I haven't messed it up for rezoning.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Go ahead. No, finish it up. I can't gavel it here. There you go.
We have a motion on the floor by, to annex,
To rezone.
to rezone 508 Woodson Avenue to City of Ocoee. Motion by Chair Lumnack and second by Vice Chair Forges
To R1A.
to R1A.
You can't gavel it either. Hand it over
Oh,
to.
shoot, yeah, I'm Vice Chair.
Do I need to repeat the motion?
No, just gavel it.
We know.
Ask for the vote.
Everyone, please vote.
Jesus Lord.
Listen, y'all know the law, I don't.
Did it approve?
It approved? Yes. Let's not do that again.
Good Lord, Heavenly Father. All right, those all
You
approved.
guys are killing me.
Jeez Louise. All right, for what we're all here for, this is 1561 Dusty Pine Drive. This is the Ferment Property Variance Request, project number VR 2501.
Yep, so this is for the Ferment property located at 1561 Dusty Pine Drive for their variance and their request to increase the maximum allowed impervious surface area and to reduce the minimum setbacks for impervious materials. So for issues, it is whether or not the Planning and Zoning Commission should recommend approval of two variance requests. The first one is to exceed the maximum allowed 65% ISA by 4% for a total of 69%, as well as to encroach the minimum 2-foot setback for impervious material by 0.5 feet. Both are for the purpose of installing pavers and concrete in the front, side, and rear yards. Okay, so background on the property is located on the south side of Dusty Pine Drive. The lot area is a little bit over 6,000 square feet, and it is within the Forest Lake Estates planned unit development. As established in the PUD, the maximum allowed ISA is 65%, which for this lot is 3,907 square feet. Okay, so here we have an aerial of property. On the bottom right-hand corner is a little bit more of a zoomed-in image of the lot. You can see some of the impervious material on the side and rear yards and a little bit towards the front. This is the zoning map. As mentioned, it's in a PUD. And the future land use map, it's designated as low-density residential. Okay, so per section 4-9A of the Land Development Code, a variance must meet 4 different criterias. The first one is that the circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land and otherwise not applicable to other lands. The second is that the regulations would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other property owners. The third is that the conditions and circumstances are not the result of the actions of the applicant. And the fourth, that the granting of the variance request will not confer special privileges to the applicant. So here is the original plot plan for the home. It was constructed in 2019 with the home entry, rear stoop, walkway, AC pad, and driveway. The ISA comes to 32%, leaving the homeowner 33% ISA to cover on the property, which is approximately 1,984 square feet. This is their proposed survey for the 2024 permit. You can see the impervious materials that were installed without permits. The blue is concrete and the yellow are paver areas. There's a patio in the front, walkways along the side, as well as slabs and patio areas in the rear yards. At this point, the ISA is 69%, exceeded by 264%. There is also impervious material in the rear yard in the distribution easement. That's 10 feet wide in the rear, not shown on this, but is indicated on the aerials. Okay, so for staff findings, based on the 4 criteria, we came to the following conclusions: that there is no particular conditions to the land, as the lot is similar to other properties in the subdivision. It's rectangular in shape, similar lot size, and similar location of easements on the property. For criteria 2, that the literal interpretation of the code does not deprive the property owner of rights enjoyed by other properties. Looking at the 2019 survey, we saw that there is roughly 33% impervious material to work with, which staff considers ample amount of square footage to work with to submit for any improvements, structures, things like that through permitting. For criteria 3, the property was cited by code enforcement in April of last year for having unpermitted pavers in the front and side yards. When the applicant came in for their permit, it was then noticed that there are additional unpermitted improvements in the rear property. And that for criteria 4, the approval of the variance would confer special privileges to the applicant, as other homes and lots are required to meet their minimum, or to not exceed the maximum allowed ISA, and to not encroach into the minimum 2-foot side setback for impervious materials. And just want to also discuss the impervious materials. There's 2 issues with them, one being within easements and one encroaching into the minimum 2-foot setback. So in addition to applying to reduce the minimum 2-foot side setback or 2-foot setback for impervious materials, the easement areas also had to be vacated. So in addition to this variance application, the applicant has applied for an easement vacation, which is currently under review. And both of which would have to be approved in order for those sidewalks and other impervious materials to remain where they are on the property. And with that, staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission make a recommendation of denial of request to not exceed the maximum allowed 65% ISA and to not allow the encroachment of the impervious materials into the 2-foot setback by 0.5 feet, noting that without the approval, the after-fact permit will have to be revised to meet all those requirements. And that concludes my presentation. The applicants are here if you guys have any questions.
Dude, have we seen this before?
You, similar, but not this one, no.
I think it was more to the left, right? It was in the same street.
A notch. Was this?
The last one was 304 Calliope Street. It looks kind of similar because both streets curve.
That's, well, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any questions for staff?
The citation was issued April 2024,
Yes,
and there were no compliance to the citation?
so they were cited by code enforcement and applied for a permit soon after. A permit was denied because of the pavers in the easement areas, as well as unpermitted improvements in the rear. So that permit was since denied, and then had some discussions with the property owners, site visits, meetings, and then they decided to pursue the variance and the easement vacation in late December of last year.
Okay, and that was the only citation?
Pardon me?
That was the only citation?
They were cited for the pavers in the front and the side yards, but once it came in for permitting, it was noticed that there is additional materials. in the back.
Additional violation?
But the original citation is for the pavers in the front, which was a patio area, and then walkways along the side of the house.
But when the additional violations were discovered, were there more citations? No, okay.
All right, cool. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Would you like to come up? You'll just give your name for the record, please.
I'm Monica Fermate.
Edwin Fermate.
Good afternoon.
Whatever you guys.
So we just start talking? So everything that Bernice said is correct as far as we were cited for, the pavers that were on the side of the home. And once we received that notice, we did everything that we could. We applied for permits. We've met with ANOC, Bernice, with code enforcement. We even had scheduled visits for them to come to the home, to see what we can do to get the permits that we need. But apparently permits won't be issued for anything until I remove the side pavers that are on the side of the home. Let me give you a bit of a background why we put those pavers there. Apparently there's water erosion that is eating up at the foundation and of the homes in all of our neighborhood or subdivision. That's that area that you see in the picture that's like eaten away. Before the pavers were there, you could literally see the chipping of the stucco, like missing from there. And that was the solution to the problem, because we noticed that about more than 24 homes in our neighborhood had placed pavers the same way in our neighborhood. So we weren't the first ones to do this. We did this because we were like, oh, maybe that's a solution to the problem. Then this whole thing happened where we were cited for that. I did notice that the reason why the erosion also happens is the homes are built so close to each other, and if your neighbors have gutters, the water is aiming towards your house. So like if you look at any of our neighbors, we don't have pictures of that obviously, that don't have pavers on the side of their home, they have that problem, the erosion and the stucco being eaten away at their homes. So that was the solution to the problem. So the reason why I applied for the variance is I feel that I do meet one of those criterias, because I'm trying to stop further erosion and damage to the foundation of my home.
Plus, we came up with all these solutions because we was here before in front of a board. They gave us all the material we needed to apply for the variance. They gave us all the terminology, the after actions, everything that we can do. So we followed the information that was given to us. So that's why we started asking the questions, so that we can pay for what we need to pay for, so that we don't have to pull up anything, so whatever we have to do, we willing to do it. We just trying to keep the house from cracking.
And then, some of our neighbors that are here, one of them in particular did also have those pavers, and they were told to rip it up. The neighbors that are right next to me were told to rip it up, the neighbors next to them. But it's just weird that it's only the neighbors on our same street. Like, if you keep driving within the neighborhood, those haven't been told to pull it up. So it's just ironic that we, on our street, have only been told to pull up the pavers, but
Like we trying to correct the issue. We're not trying to hide and make other, we just trying to That cost a lot of money to do, and we was under the impression that the company that did it pulled the permits. Once we realized when we got cited, code enforcement, that they didn't, now we was asking, well, okay, what's another solution that we can come up with to fix this? So that's why we're here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay. We have some public comments, so I'm going to let you guys, if you don't mind, go back down. We appreciate your testimony. Thank you. We have two comments here. We have one from Sherwood Brown. Come on up. You're the next contestant. Just say your name for the record.
My name is Sherwood Brown. And I can see and I understand why he did what he did. If you look at the picture, you can see it where the water wash is washing the side of the house. And I was one of the ones to, help add dirt, put mulch around. That didn't work because of the water washed it out. And I guess the next step was to add those pavers. So if you really look at it, it's a great improvement to the house. And the pavers really helps correct the problem, the issue that they was having. But since they added those pavers, there's not been any other issue with that property. So I just wanted to add that to let you guys know that it's a good addition to the property.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, we have, is it Rupchan? Mr. Rupchan?
Rajesh Rupchan. I too had the pavers on the side of my house, and I had to remove it. Yesterday, however, all that rain, my carpet is wet on the floor. Right where the erosion is at, the water builds up because between the two houses is 10 feet. With guttering on both sides, it's a swimming pool in there. So with the pavers, I had the pavers for a couple of years, no water, hurricanes, everything, no water. Yesterday I came home from work, the bedrooms are wet, the carpet. So having the pavers there is a plus. It does stop the water from hitting the foundation and seeping inside, wetting the carpet. My house smells disgusting right now with wet carpet. It does help a lot by putting the pavers. I just removed it. I spoke to Bernice to add it. Everybody said, you have to move it. I moved it out. Now I have water in my house. That's all I gotta say.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? All right. We're going to go ahead and close it back up, bring it up to the dais. I'll take any questions that any P&Z members have. Okay.
I have a question. I mean, and I'm going to try to keep this related to applying the law.
Yes.
So the 2-foot setback, is that that's not right up to the house, is it? I mean, I guess I'm a little unclear where that 2-foot setback begins, how close to, or how much of the pavers are in the setback as opposed to out of the setback that the setback violation would not exist.
So
And I'm talking specifically the ones on the sides of the house.
yeah, let me go ahead one moment. Yep. Okay, I'm going to use the original copy of the surveys just so it's a little bit more clear. But if you follow my cursor, there's the 5-foot wide easement goes all the way up to the property line. So technically, no impervious material should be installed there because there are easements existing along both property lines, the front as well as the rear. So that's why they're applying for the easement vacation, so they're even allowed to have the pavers within that area. The second part is to reduce the setback because if the easements are vacated, impervious materials still have a minimum of 2 feet requirement to be set back from the property lines, and that's being encroached on.
And I'm assuming that that's where they're 1'6" from the property line. If they added 3'6", correct?
Go to the next page.
6. They are,
They had a 3'6", so 3'6" and a 1'6", and that's what they're requesting for the 2-foot minimum. So they're 6 inches past, right?
so they're, yeah, they're 6 inches too close.
Okay. What was your question? Sorry.
Okay, and to confirm, we're not saying they can't put pavers, we're saying you just cannot do it on the easement and or exceed.
It's not to
Required.
allow for it within the easement, it's for
Correct.
it to allow it to encroach the minimum setback for impervious
Correct.
materials.
Correct.
The easement is being done through the easement vacation, which is a separate application, both of which would have to be approved for it to remain as proposed.
Okay.
The other issue that I might see would be, is that maybe the dirt is too low, and that's why the erosion
The erosion is there.
going into the actual foundation as of, oh, sorry. Sorry, it was off. What I kind of see from looking at this picture is that maybe that the dirt was too low, it was below the stucco line. So sometimes when builders, they don't go all the way to the foundation or past the foundation. So if your concrete slab and then the block starts, you're actually below that, so the water is able to seep through. The other item might be is bringing more dirt to have it higher so that the water drains. Because I see that there's 2 different elevations from the front of the house. Is it like a 6-inch step, if I'm not mistaken, from what it looks like? I'm sorry.
The back.
Sorry, I so apologize, and I know we can't have back and forth because we closed the public hearing already. And plus, he can't give advice from the dais, right? But it's in the right spirit. Let me ask you a quick question. I want to make sure, right? We're not just talking about these pavers that are going down the side of the house, right? We're also over imperviousness as well, right? So whether if those pavers are there or not, you have too much going on in the backyard to begin with, right? The fire pit, the pavers in the back concrete slab, that's going over the exceeded ISA. So even if those pavers on the side, that's not one of the main, that's a main issue, but we're still over the imperviousness, right?
Yes, so if I could clarify, Anach Whitfield, zoning manager, we have had several conversations with the property owners, and if you could follow my cursor, they are built at 3.5. So if the easement were to be vacated, they could drop to 3, which will keep them out of the setback, so the variance would not be needed. Second thing is, if you look at these little squiggly lines here, those are little arrows that dictate or that show that all those lots drain to the front. If the neighbors in the block are altering their backyards or side yards and sending water in the wrong direction that it's not supposed to go in, that could also be contributing to adjacent neighbors and property owners experiencing flooding issues. The other thing too is the 69% that Bernice shows in her presentation is excluding everything that's in this red box that's also covered in impervious materials. So if you count the entirety of the lot, it's well over the 69%.
But that's the neighborhood wall, correct?
It's the neighborhood wall is right at the edge of their property line.
Yeah.
So there's a 5-foot wall easement for the HOA to install the wall.
Right.
But then on top of that is the 10-foot power easement that I think Bernice may have reached out. Their easement vacation didn't include the 10-foot, so we need to do a modification to that easement vacate. It was only for the 5-foot wall easement.
Okay.
But I just wanted to point out that we did meet with them. We talked with city management, and the direction from them was that the entire subdivision would need to be evaluated for drainage, not just individual lots.
Sounds like there's a big issue there. All right, if there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion. Need one motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion for recommendation of approval to deny the Fairmount property variance request.
Okay.
It was for clear, it was a motion to recommend denial.
A recommend denial, yes.
Okay.
Cool, thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion by Member Butler to recommendation of denial of the project and a second by Vice Chair Forges. Does anybody want to make any additional comments?
Just the comment that if you're voting yes, you're voting for the denial. If you're voting no, you're voting against the denial. I've seen that before where people get backwards with what they're.
Can I make a comment with regards to why second?
Yeah?
My comment for that is you simply cannot vacate or request to vacate an easement because it is there for whatever use the public may need, whether it be through your property to get to someone else's property. The answer tonight is not that you cannot put the pavers, you simply have to do it within your allowable space. So you can still do that. You can, if you follow the guidelines, you can still put the pavers and have some resolutions to your property, but you just can exceed. Unfortunately, those are small lots, but you just cannot exceed what has been set as the guidelines for the neighborhood. So that's why I'm voting that one.
Okay. I'll also say we've been pretty consistent on this board when it comes to imperviousness and those rates. That being said, we're just a recommendation board to the city, so you will have one more opportunity if this is voted either way to meet with the city commission if so. So, but in that case, we have motion, we have a second. Let's go ahead and vote. Did you vote the wrong way?
No, I voted
Oh.
no specifically. I do see that they have an issue that is unique. Unfortunately, it's unique to the entire subdivision. In my opinion, I think the city needs to go out there, do some major investigation into what needs to be done to rectify. This is the second or possibly the third, if I remember correctly, that's come before us on this issue. Quite frankly, before I did agree, but as I'm seeing more and more of this is definitely an issue with what was done in the construction of these, and these citizens need to have some sort of recompense. If they cannot find a way to hold the developer responsible and him having to go in there and fix it, we need to give them the opportunity to go in there and put the pavers in to protect their homes. So that, I like the way that they have this here with at least, it's not total paver, there's an area for that water to go through and to go down. I think that this really needs to be looked at as an entire community. This was not done correctly.
Yeah, Joel, and I appreciate your comments. But this is in Forest Brook Estates, right?
Pardon?
What neighborhood?
Forest Lake Estate.
Forest Lake Estates.
Yeah, I mean, the HOA should be taking that up with the builder, right? I mean, this is, we have development codes for a reason, and I get it, right? I see it. This is terrible. But we have to be consistent, or, everybody in the city will want, to have that. And I know it sucks, but it just is what it is. But I want to clarify that vote was 4-1 in favor of denial. So I'm sorry, good luck. I hope you guys get some more clarification on it. But Anach, you want to say something?
I was just going to say, if it drops from 3.5 feet to 3 feet, that might give some relief, as long as the rest of the ISA issue is resolved.
Right. And that's my point. It's not that you can't do it, you just have to stay within limits. And I think if you just do that 1/2 foot, that should solve the problem.
Okay. All right, so now we have miscellaneous project status report by, well, she's not here. So would you like to do it? What do we got going on, Anach? Anything good around the city happening?
The backyard is supposed to be open tomorrow. So that's a good thing. They will be, once we sign the doggy dining application, they will be the city's first doggy dining or doggy-friendly restaurant. So we're
Nice.
excited about that. I don't know if you've gone to the Wawa. I haven't been there.
I have. It's amazing.
I go to the Murphy near my house.
It's great.
The Envision 2045 Community Outreach Meeting is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I don't know how many people we'll get, but staff is looking forward to it. We'll have a rolling presentation. I'll do a very, very quick presentation, and we'll have 3-foot by 4-foot boards of the more pertinent maps all over the Lakeshore Center, as well as refreshments. So hopefully people can come out and ask questions.
What time is that?
That is going to be May 28th from 6 to 8,
That's important. That's the Vision 2025, which will show,
2045.
excuse me. That's going to show a lot of good stuff about what our development's going to be moving forward, so.
And we are also working on the LDC update, looking at our current zoning districts, the list of allowed uses, looking at trying to bring the city to a more urban form while protecting our outer limits of the city boundaries.
Great.
That's it.
Any updates on city centers that, you have any new packets on that, or?
No, nothing new yet on City Center.
Yeah, I saw the news. That's why I was saying.
Well, other than that,
Other than it's-
nothing new in the world of permitting.
Any movement on the Lakewood project over there where like maybe the Walmart neighborhood market may be or may not going in?
So the neighborhood Walmart has come in for their second round. We have a few comments. There are only a few minor comments left. We are pushing for some better architecture and placemaking, better connectivity for pedestrians, things like that. The gas station, unfortunately, is just tucked into that little triangular shaped piece, so there just wasn't any wiggle room to bring the gas station closer to the front. The northwest side of Village Center, the side north of Clarkona near the apartment complex, we have not yet heard back from them. They're still at round 1.
I'm sorry, where about is the neighborhood Walmart's going to be in that complex?
On the south side of Clarkona Ocoee Road, if you drive up North Lakewood, go around the roundabout, it'll be the extension in that corner
On the left,
on the left.
across from the gas station.
Yes. And then, gas station, and then Walmart's, sorry, strike that from the record. The other gas station,
Oh, so there are plans for another gas station.
yes,
So
and
next to that will be the Walmart,
Neighborhood market.
the neighborhood market.
Walmart.
neighborhood market, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then on the northwest corner, on the north side of Clarkona Ocoee is a retail plaza with 2 buildings. And they're in their first round.
Cool. Einstein Bagels opened. It's been awesome so far. Loved it. That's it. I would like to wish my wife, today's our 19th anniversary, so
Happy anniversary.
Happy
kept
anniversary.
up with me that long, but,
We just celebrated ours too, 19.
yay. Anybody else have any other questions for staff? Nope. Are we gonna have JJ back, next,
I would like to believe so. No.
All right, our next meeting will be June 10th. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Longest meeting ever.